Good day, everybody. It's Eric once again, and it's journaling time. And we're continuing our prompts with executive functions, and today's is going to be talking about systems. And a system is a relatively simple thing, but the idea is to be able to make systems that make life easier for us. And once again, I'll use students as an example, but once again, you can adjust these to whatever environment you have or whatever workflow you're doing or whatever tasks you're trying to do. So a system is literally just a procedure to do something. Now, I'll give you an example of a system that I think everybody should have regardless of what you're doing. So a basic system is when you're done doing any work, clean up everything back to where it was at the end. So you finish doing your writing, you finish doing your typing, you finish doing whatever it is that you're doing. Don't just leave everything out. I see students do this all the time. But honestly, it happens with adults too. Things are left all over the place, and then when you come back to the next time, not only do you have to get over the hump of trying to get back to work, but now you got to also clean up the area before you can even start the work. So a system is just a procedure of doing something. It can be a very simple one-task thing. So one system, like I said, could be cleaning everything up when you're done. Another system that I use with students a lot, and you'd be surprised how many of these little things can wreak havoc for anybody. So another system I use with students is formatting. Where to put your name, make sure there's a heading, make sure there's a date. This is why in their journal books that we have, there's a name, date, prompts where to put this stuff, as well as a time and a mood. These are things that kind of give us some data, so when we review back, we kind of have an orientation. And if you happen to be a student, then that way the student makes sure that the credit is going to them, and that when they're looking online, because a lot of times these days a lot of work is done online, they can find something easily to be able to send it to somebody. I can't tell you how many times I've seen students where they just copy the last document, and then you just have a whole file listing of copy, 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 copy of, copy of, copy. And then it's like you have to open up every file to be able to figure out what it is. So start thinking about systems for your workspace. We started with the environment of the workspace, how to optimize that, what is the intent of it, and fleshing out all the things that we want to be able to do there. The last video was on tools of the trade. What tools do you need to make sure you get all that work done? So now systems. I gave you one, and this pretty much goes for anything. Just like if you worked at a restaurant, restaurants, you're always cleaning up as you go, particularly if you're in the back kitchen. They're always cleaning as they're going. So that way it's always built in, which, a little side note, this is something I believe society is going to be moving towards in terms of like waste management. So all of our packaging, all that kind of stuff, the plastics. Businesses, when we started mass producing things, weren't thinking about the end use of the product. It's just going to go in a hole in the earth. Well, now we have toxic things that don't break down, like plastics and environmental waste and da-da-da-da-da. You get the idea. So I think in the next few years and decade, we're going to see that this is going to be built into the natural way of things, because we have to. So think of systems. What systems could you do to make your workflow much better? Let it be a student, you're working in your own business, an office, an editor, content creator, whatever it is that you may be. What systems would help? Keep them simple. Don't try and staple on two systems into one. So one system would be to, like I said, formatting. Another one could be to make sure you clean up when you're done. Another one would be, I'm going to shoot. If I have to use my camera, I'm going to make sure the batteries are always charged before I go. Or at the end of every shoot, like this is what I do, I make sure I charge my batteries. The same kind of thing I tell students when they're going to bed every night, make sure you plug in your cell phones and your computers so they're charged before the next day. These are the kind of ideas of systems. And to kind of give you a little bit more detail, if you really want to get into like management of routines and systems and kind of optimizing yourself, I recommend the book Atomic Habits. It's a great book. Not sponsored by the book, I've just read it. And a lot of the things I'm implementing into the executive functions, the book I'm writing, and to these prompts and the videos I have online is derived from this book, or I've kind of molded them in my own behalf. And I've even had these ideas built into some of the way we learn math. And journaling is one of those things too, just to kind of throw out some ideas. So anyways, back to the idea, systems. What systems could you do to help make your workflow much better so you can achieve the intent of the environment we did before? Because the idea is to make this process as easily as possible so you can spend the time being creative, getting your work done, and not getting bogged down with all the other things. So one more little quick example. I live in California, so a little over 100 years ago, there weren't any roads. And if anybody was traveling from the Midwest or the East Coast out to California, this was a huge adventure, a huge expedition. Now that there's roads, we can get there much quicker. We can achieve other things that are built on top of those roads. We can sell commerce, we can go vacations, whereas before you would never vacation out 150 years ago or so because there was no roads. You could kind of view that as a loose idea of a system. That road allowed us to build other kinds of activities on top of that and even become dependent on it. So, today's prompt, what systems can you create and flesh out in the journaling process to make your workflow more efficient? Before we get going, please remember to like, share, and comment. I'm looking for people to leave prompt ideas in the comments. I'd love to be able to put them in and start implementing them. And if you need a new journal book, if you liked any of the ones in the opening video, please follow the link and purchase them on Amazon. Greatly appreciated. Without any further ado, let's get to writing today. Okay. So like I mentioned a moment ago, in the journaling books that we have online, I've kind of put in some of these built-in systems with date, time. I added mood and also location. These are kind of, like I said, it's a formatting system, and I built it into the journaling because I know personally that when I review my old journaling books, I like to know what date and time it was. It kind of gives me an orientation. So when I look back at myself of what I wrote, I remember I can see how many years ago it was or whatever the time was, and I can see how my thinking and hopefully my maturity has changed over time. This is why I put those prompts in there. So systems, once again, what systems can you create to make your workflow much better? All right, enjoy the process, everybody. Oh, we forgot. Oh, today, first location, mood, date. Today is the 17th, for me at least. And then the time is 3:16 p.m. Okay. So, enjoy the process, everybody. Hopefully that went well. You were able to get some ideas of systems. And don't overthink it. It's not a really complicated thing. It's an action. So hopefully you're able to come up with some systems or actions. If you happen to be a parent, keep these simple. Like just, they don't even have to be a complete sentence. Just a simple, direct intent that's easily seen by the child or whoever it may be, the student, when it's complete. So it's a very easy task. It doesn't have to be a complicated thing. And then as we get all these systems, then the next journaling prompt will be about routines. And once again, all these videos I've gone into much more detail on the channel itself. Under executive functions, you will see the first one, environment, tools of the trade, and then systems, and then the rest of the pillars will come, routines, time management, and then a little spoiler, the last pillar of the executive's function for student success is on journaling. So we're already kind of in that process. Hence the reason why journaling is on the math channel. And there'll be a whole executive section on the math channel too, because my math channel is built with executive functions. So little side note there. Anyways, hopefully you got some good systems down, and read them again and refine them. And if you are a student or a parent and you're not sure how to implement these because you may forget what to do, write them down. And you can even write them down, and I'll just give you a little example. I have these little, this is a system. I don't know if you can see it, but it has the intent, when I'm going to do the action, what time of day it is. There's also what little reward I will get when I do these little actions. And then I have a little thing, and I place them here, and I have them different spots in the house where I would be when I want to initiate that system or initiate this. This is going to also be, this will happen in routines as well too. And in the journaling, we're just fleshing it out, so we're not going to go too deep in it. Once again, check out the videos upline where I go into much more detail so you understand how to utilize these things. And basically these little tags are like advertising to yourself. You're reminding yourself, because it takes time to upload these new systems until you can forget about them and they just become habit. And then we just keep refining the process. The next thing you know is things are moving efficiently, everybody's going well, and your quality of work is up, and everything is much easier. You don't have to worry about it. We've eliminated a lot of the kind of basic problems of infrastructure. Anyways, a little rambling there. Anyways, have a great day, everybody, and remember, enjoy the process. Take care, everybody. Bye-bye.